So today we are going to fix this little boo-boo in our Roofnest Falcon. The Falcon is an aluminum shell rooftop tent that kind of opens like a clamshell. And I dropped something just here in storage in the garage. I dropped something that was heavy and very moderately sharp, but kind of punched this little hole here. And so you can actually see some of the aluminum honeycomb inside that makes this both light and very strong. So we have kind of a skin of aluminum plus either a heavy paint or a kind of a plastic film on top of it. And so generally what we're going to do is we're going to clean this all up with a little rubbing alcohol, cut out a patch of aluminum, and then kind of scrape it up and rough it up so the epoxy can bond on nice and tight. Then mix up some epoxy, put it on here, put the patch down, kind of clamp it all together, and let it set. And that should be that. First, just a little rubbing alcohol here, just to make sure everything is nice and wonderfully clean. That being said, you should definitely have this all 100% dry, right? If any moisture got in here, you want to make sure that you get that moisture out of there before you patch it. Now, I've had my Roofnest Falcon essentially in the garage here in storage while it's been ski season and my ski box is on the truck and that kind of stuff. So no worries there. But if you have any question about moisture, any question at all, make sure to get this, I don't know, maybe a hair dryer for a while or that kind of thing. Make sure it is definitely 100% dry. Next up, I got some aluminum sheeting just from the local Ace Hardware. Nothing special here. This is relatively thin. This is 0.016 inches thick. It may seem a little flimsy, but I suspect once we cut out just a small piece, I mean, yeah, even though, again, it seems kind of thin and flimsy, but when it's just this little small section, like I push on here, there's no give at all. So it definitely has the strength required. No need to be any thicker. And now we're going to cut out a little square here to patch this up. I'm going to round the corners just a little bit on this side. That was a crappy job. Here, that's a little better. It's hard to grab. There we go. I'm actually going to bend it just slightly each way, not significantly. I want it bowed slightly so that when I put it down here and I put a weight onto it, it's going to really kind of hold the corners all nice and tight against the skin of the Falcon. All right, little mechanical pencil action here to mark where the patch is going to go. I think it's going to go right here. All right, time for some Dremel action. And I actually had a question on my channel recently. What is a Dremel? Essentially, it's just a handheld cordless drill, right? But it comes with lots of accessories that go in the end. In this case, we're gonna use a little wire wheel to go ahead and brush up the surface. Usually I use it for like grinding or a cutting disc to go cut through metal parts and that kind of stuff. Works great for that kind of thing. Absolutely fantastic tool, whether the Dremel brand or some other knockoff brand, whatever. These guys really started the market way back when for these kind of hobbyist tools. But really, really handy tool to have in your garage toolkit. Actually really don't like how the wire wheel did. It almost polished it too much. I'm going to try just, you know, a sandpaper roller from the Dremel here and just try to, yeah, just try to scratch it up a little bit. In fact, that works just fine. This gives the epoxy something to grip on. All right, I'm much more happy about that. Remember, kids, power tools corrupt. Absolute power tools corrupt, absolutely. Just a hand and some sandpaper was actually the best. I'm gonna give it one more wipe down here with the rubbing alcohol to get any debris out of here, all the little scrapings and scratchings, and we're all ready to glue it up. I'm just gonna use kind of standard long duration, I think it's 12-hour setting epoxy. Roofnest, their support folks actually recommended JB Weld. So that's another option if you prefer that. JB Weld is basically epoxy with metal in it. I've already got the aluminum patch, etc. I guess if I was literally going to fill it in just with essentially like JB welds, the whole thing, I guess that would be one thing. But since I'm doing the patch, I'm just going to use standard epoxy. It's not going to take much. Okay, along this edge, I'm going to take it right up to the metal because I'm going to snug our patch into that. Can't see my pencil marks anymore, but that's all right. I think I know roughly where it is, and there's more than enough epoxy here. It's going to scooch out all over, and then I'm going to need to clean up the excess. I'm going to put a little more kind of on the inside area here, because I don't care if it spooges out into the interior. No big deal there. Actually, I'm going to put, I really want to make sure the edges are the right way, right? Yeah. We want to make sure the edges are glued down. I don't want any moisture getting into there, etc. So I think what I'm going to do is take just a little bit of extra glue here and just run it along the edges just to make really sure. All right. Right about there. Okay, I'm definitely getting some excess glue around the edges here, so I'm going to try to clean it off without causing a larger mess. Epoxy can be horribly messy if you let it get out of control. There we go. Now a piece of wax paper to go over it, and then something heavy to go ahead and hold it down. First off, this is actually a sharpening stone, but it's a nice wood box that goes nicely there. And then a 5-pound sledge. All right, we'll just let that set and see how it goes.
Later.
All right, let's see what we've got. All right, pretty well perfect. A little bit of glue bleed around the edges, but not too bad. Last but not least, let's put a Go Tread sticker on it, and we'll call it good. Perfect, all patched up.